sport? All right, welcome back, everybody. It's nice to be back, and we have a very, very special guest, one of the favorite bowlers of everybody, a super successful season. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the pleasure to introduce to you Mr. Andrew Anderson.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate the kind words. It is great to be back in Sweden here at Olympia Bowl. Definitely one of my favorite places in the world.
It's a place that we all like to come back, right? It's more than bowling in this area.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, over the years, I've made so many friends here, and um, it really does feel like a second home for many of us when we come over here.
Yeah, it's like we are part of them. It's part of the family. It's beyond bowling. We do so many activities around the tournament as well. It's going to be that golf friendly
Oh yeah.
event. But since we have you here and we don't want to kidnap you for a very long time, let me go to business. Very successful season. It was
Yeah.
wonderful to see. You joined the Storm staff
Yep.
group. You're
Yep.
bowling global, but
Yeah.
pretty much you can use the
Yeah.
three brands.
Any of the Storm brands. Yep. Storm, Roto, and Global. Yeah, what a switch. Crazy enough is that I first decided on the switch while I was here in Sweden for the Swedish League
Hmm.
last year, and that was my first time. So the first time throwing storm balls was actually here in Sweden.
In Sweden.
In Sweden. So kind of a full circle moment. But yeah, it's been a great year. Super happy with it. There was a couple I let slip by a little bit, but overall, you can't be too mad at the season I had.
No, of course, of course. I mean, it was very successful for me. But I watched it back home. When I saw you sign for Storm, I've been bowling for Storm for quite many years, and when I saw you sign for Storm, I said like, "Oh, I think he's going to be very, very successful."
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm very happy because not only you're a very good bowler, but you are very kind and humble. You're a
I
very easy
appreciate
to
that.
talk person. And but also let us know. I know you have a YouTube channel where you do a lot of stuff, a lot of
Yep.
coaching, not only bowl reviews. It's a little bit deeper than that.
Yep.
So if you want to let us know which is your YouTube channel for those who are watching and the viewers.
Yeah, absolutely. So YouTube channel was kind of like a side thing that I've been doing a little bit here and there. Andrew Anderson Bowling on YouTube. It's been fun. I'll tell you what. It took. I bowled on TV many times. I've been in front of cameras. Talking to yourself in front of a camera was a different animal.
Yes.
It was very awkward at first. My first couple of videos, going back and watching them, I'm like, wow, this is different. But I've gotten a little more used to it now. It's been fun. It's been different. I enjoy like going through the comments, seeing what people want to see more of, and then trying to the next video act on that. So really cool, different venture. Gets me off the lanes a little bit, but also gets me practicing and showing people what it's like to be a professional bowler.
I'm gonna make sure I subscribe myself to the channel
I
because
appreciate that.
now when I'm not bowling that much, especially now when I'm bowling a little bit less because of my back problems and so when I want to know something about the new releases and new bowling balls,
Yep.
sometimes I need to look at some videos, but I need it to be somebody that I can really trust.
Yeah.
And it's not always easy because now
Oh.
in YouTube is so many people doing bowl reviews and
Yep.
sometimes when they say some things of balls that I already know, it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
okay, this is not the channel I
You
want to
learn real
follow.
quick. And it's really about trying to relate to everybody.
Hmm.
When I talk about my coaching videos, I found myself like doing a lot more takes because I'm like, all right, like that one sounded good, but that's only uh, for the higher level bowlers. And
Hmm.
then the next one was like, okay, maybe that was only for this select group. And so it's been a difficult challenge to try to communicate to everybody on a
Yes.
on a plane that everybody could understand.
It's one of the things I realize as well. Now that I'm bowling less and I'm doing more coaching, sometimes it's like for you it's so obvious, but then you realize, no, I need to explain it in a way that it's a little bit less complicated, a little
Yes.
bit less complex. And but that's what we're saying, guys. If you want to learn more about the game, if you want to get know a little bit better of Andrew, just go to his channel, subscribe over there, and don't forget to subscribe also on the Storm Lucky Larsen
Yes.
Masters YouTube channel. It's gonna be a lot of content during the year. It's gonna be a lot of content besides this event. We had already the World Cup under 21
Yeah, that was
at the end
awesome.
of
Watched a
June.
ton of it.
It was really fun to witness all these young talented bowlers. They're gonna show a lot of Swedish league, and you're probably gonna be coming and bowl for, I
Yeah,
guess, Yoda
we're
from time
working
to
out the
time?
dates, but I love bowling the Swedish League. You know, I try to. My hope is to get a YouTube video of it. I don't think people. I go back home and tell everybody about it, and I don't think people truly understand how special the Swedish League is. The amount of pride you bowl for, the energy, how loud it is. Um, I tell people all the time, like, you want to throw pressure shots, go try to bowl in the Swedish League and throw a shot for your team.
And for those who are not really traveling around, they are bowlers, but they're not traveling the world like we do. It's a lot of talent in Scandinavia, and
Oh
especially
yeah,
a lot of talent in the Swedish league. You see people, not only foreigners coming like yourself and
yeah,
some other PBA guys. Even back in the day, I know Jason and some guys came
yeah.
and bowled that league. But the local bowlers, they are very strong. They are very competitive. And as you very well said, the atmosphere it creates, it's like a soccer game or an NBA game, but already on the playoffs when
Yeah,
everybody's screaming defense, defense, and all that stuff.
second to none. The match Isgota had against Pergamon 2 years ago, where we came away in Olympia bowling with the
Hmm.
win, was one of the most electric atmospheres I've ever been a part of in any bowling atmosphere in my life. I bowled on TV, bowled for majors. I would take that atmosphere up with many of those.
That's cool. That's cool to listen. Andrew, let me ask you a little bit. You bowled the previous squad. It
Yeah.
was the first squad you bowled in this year's event.
Yep.
You obviously know the bowling alley. You played here many, many times. What do you feel about the pattern? Is it as demanding as it looks?
Yeah, I think it just you have to be very willing to change,
Hmm.
willing to adapt. I had a great practice. Shot 160 game one. I was now willing to adapt. I liked what I saw in practice. I was trying to continue to make that work. That's just not what's going to happen here. Those who bowl really well are going to make multiple ball changes. Are going to move across the lane very quickly.
Hmm.
If we see a lefty that bowls really well, when the likes of Jesper show up and others, they're going to curve the ball more than you're expecting. There's a lot of friction. You're going to see a lot of, three baggers followed by a split. There's good games out there. There's some very good pairs. There's some very good games out there. It's just going to take, when you go pair to pair, a very open mind to be willing to make those changes to bowl another good game.
You can't be stubborn at all.
None,
You
no.
need to be open-minded and you need to be very awake. It seems to me like when we saw the pattern at the beginning, we see, 44 feet, 29 mils, maybe it's going to be a little long, but it's not really that amount of oil. The oil is placed at the beginning of the lane, then it's
Yeah,
only brushing down.
yeah,
So it feels like those people who choose to grab one of those low RG balls and a lot of surface on, the
yeah,
ball is not holding at all when they miss in. And
yeah.
obviously, in this kind of pattern, you cannot miss out either.
I agree completely. And I got stuck myself doing that. I was throwing 44 feet, 29 mils. You're thinking let's throw some stronger stuff. Nope, got out of that real quick. And
Hmm.
I'm very curious to see what happens when we have more PBA guys show up, more of the Americans show up, and we all get on one squad together. There's gonna be so much rev rate. We're probably gonna run out of room. I would actually expect scores to go down a little bit.
Hmm.
And everyone expects that when we start showing up, that cut goes up. But we damage the lanes faster than anybody in the world, and by damage I mean make them hook more.
I
And there's
understand.
there's so much hook out there as is. Uh, it's gonna be a very interesting feat. So super happy with my score. I wish I had a little more than 160 game one, but
But it was
120 over.
it was a very strong comeback.
Yeah,
After
very
game one,
yeah.
everything was very steady and high games. And even when you found a little bit yourself into some troubles or issues, you managed, probably as you said, you opened up your mind.
Yeah,
You were just awake to see what was happening and just
exactly.
decide what am I gonna do. Do it quick enough. Don't be afraid to do
Yeah,
those changes. Don't be afraid to change ball. Don't be afraid to change the line.
yeah.
And simply adapt to whatever you're gonna face on the next pair you're going into.
And many times, and you and I are both probably guilty of this. When we bowling league or we're bowling something a little easier, we'll make moves that are like one or two board moves.
Mm.
I made more five board moves today than I have in a
In a long
very
time.
long time.
In a long time.
And so that's where the open mindedness comes in. Like, hey, your ball hooked a little bit, you should probably move a lot. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I'm curious to see how this plays out. So much tournament left. The pattern is going to change a little bit more as we oil it more and more. But I think they put out something pretty fair. I'm super curious to see what females You can do. Super curious to see how the lefties do. I think the likes of like Nora Johansson, she's gonna have a block one of these times. That's gonna be stellar. Um, and I think the beauty of this type of event, bowling multiple squads, is I'm super happy with 120 over, but I promise you that like my next block, I'm trying to go for that lead.
Yeah.
And so having multiple chances at it make you change your game plan often and see what's going on. But so far, this squad that we're watching right now, there's some good scores out there. Sean Rash 270, Andrew Hall has 260 left, Ernesto 230. So there's score to be had.
Yeah, definitely. It has been like that on the previous squads when I was doing the streaming and the online. It was the first couple of games. We have seen quite a few people having 80 over.
Yep.
And then on game 3 and 4, when the real transition showed
Oh
up,
yeah.
as you said, if they were not moving enough or they were not doing the things aggressively enough, they got stuck in the middle of nowhere. Then it became pretty tough. So, yeah, in terms of scoring, we're almost done with game 1. We have Sean Raj on the lead now with 270. Then we have, I don't see, Chase is going to shoot 252 on lane 8.
Yep. That's also a great start.
Andrew Hall is on the way for another 230 something in 11 and 12.
I'll tell you what, this doesn't make me feel any better about my 162 start. But it happens.
No, but what's going to be interesting to see is what's going to happen now when they switch.
Yeah.
Because actually, when you were bowling your squad, I was doing here the commentary as well, and Ryan and Francois happened to come into the pair you were bowling.
Yeah.
And since you shot 160, I was sitting down here and said, "Whoa, I want to really see how they do," because Francois did quite a high
Yeah.
game to begin on
Very
lane
good
1 and
start.
2.
Yep.
But then when he got into your 13 and 14,
17, 18. Yep.
17, 18, excuse me, it didn't work
Yeah.
for none of them. And then when they left, the next players who came up into that pair, they had the same issue.
Yeah.
They didn't score high on 17, 18 until the very end
Yeah.
of the squad.
And you know, beauty of bowling here. A lot of times, I have a lot of notes. When I drew 17A, I said, "Oof, here we go," because I do believe 17 is the most hooking lane in the building.
Even more than 20.
I do. I
Well,
believe
now you're
that.
giving away a lot of information for
Hey,
the listeners.
that's
Yeah.
that's for me. You know, we're gonna have somebody come out here, and 17 is gonna be the tightest pair for them. But for me, that lane hooks more than any other lane here. So I big forward on it a couple times, and you know, then the swing got a little uncomfortable, and it turns into a low score pretty easily here. And that's why we're seeing so many. Like, there's score to be had, right? But there's also a lot of 180s, 160s out there. So avoiding that low game, being open-minded. You know, Sean with the 270 starts now going to 1920. Many would believe that that's not a great pair, but we'll see what happens.
We have to see. And especially, I guess, when you get into these kind of tougher patterns,
Yeah.
and especially talking to the younger generations, they have a lot of issues with sparing.
Yeah.
They threw so much strikes that they don't focus so much on
Oh,
sparing.
yeah.
Especially the kids 20 and under, and when they hit this kind of pattern that is not 8 strikes per game but only 5 strikes per game, and you're gonna have to spare 5 times per game, unless you are really taking your spares, you're gonna be in trouble right away.
Yeah, and what's so funny about you saying that, why I'm smiling right now, is this is my first event without a spare ball, like a
Uh-huh.
plastic ball, in
Wow.
about 6 months.
Okay.
Only bringing 6 balls to Europe, you know, like it's tough to pick. And thankfully, you know, I know Carl in the pro shop might be able to help me out, but I missed a 1-2-4 and I missed a 6-3-6 today that I really don't believe I would have missed without a spare ball.
Maybe we
And
should go down after
I
the
know,
squad
I
and
know.
get you a spare ball.
But
really.
it was so ironic for me because I'm looking around and I was watching a lot of missed spares by some of the younger kids. And
Too
I'm like,
many. Too many.
too many, and I thought to myself, like, you know what, I'm kind of turning in them at the moment. I probably left my most important ball back in the States, but yeah, it's what a tournament. Martin, Larsen, Bakke, this whole tournament staff, Ron Bach, do a phenomenal job, and we're just so happy to be here. The only international PBA title right now, and you know, that's what brings many of us out. Winning a PBA title in the States is awesome, but winning a PBA title around the world is equally so.
I remember a couple of years ago when AJ Johnson he
Yep.
made his first title here. He was
Yes.
so emotional. He was crying in happiness.
Oh yeah.
So it doesn't really matter where you win your first PBA title or
Exactly.
where you win a PBA title. It's a PBA title. It's gonna make you proud. It's gonna make you happy.
Yep.
And we have some comments on the chat. We have some people. Who's Jamie. Jamie is arriving in a couple of days from now. He's a cool kid from Gibraltar. He says he's taking all the notes. So thank you, Andrew. He's
Yeah.
taking
Yeah.
notes on your suggestions and which pairs. Yeah, Jamie, we have to remember that 17 is going to hook even more than 20. Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, unfortunately, we have some commentary in, I would say,
I think that's got to be
Japanese, Chinese, Korean,
We're gonna need to
something like that. We,
translate
we
there.
need a real translator, and I'm gonna
That's
blame it
not
on
you.
blurry glasses. I need to clean my glasses first. Otherwise I don't see. But it's gonna be very fun to witness what you guys can do.
Yeah.
To be honest, at the beginning of the tournament, because especially on the first two squads, I thought the cat was going to be a little bit higher. I expected it to be 150 over,
Yeah.
mostly because in my years of bowling, my experience as a coach as well, when better bowlers get together on the lane, they don't really destroy the lane that much.
Yeah.
But as you said today, it's not that much amount of oil as we thought it was going to be at the beginning. So when many of you start using that same spot, it may end up becoming
I think
way
we're
too
going
burnt.
to, yeah, and we're going to cliff the lanes. When you get a squad with the likes of me, Rash, Dom, Ryan Barnes, you name it, all the guys coming over, Andrew Hall, Chase and Do on the pairs at the same time, we're going to cliff them. And what I mean by that is the friction is going to become way too dry and the oil is going to become way too long. And so we're going to start missing left and the ball's going to go too far. We're going to miss right and the ball goes left. And um, I think we're all kind of preparing for that. Come Thursday, come Friday, uh, those um, those really rev rate loaded squads. Those are the squads I'm most interested in
Hmm.
because they could be very high scoring. They could be miserable. And at the moment, after what I just bowled on, I'm going to assume the later. I think that it's actually going to be a much easier pattern as is than when
When
all
all
the
the good
PBA
ones
guys.
are on.
Yeah, and there's so much talent here. Like, let's not take away from
No,
the
Team
local.
Sweden and
Yeah,
some of
I
the
mean,
Finnish guys and
yeah,
stuff
like
like that. Mm.
the beauty of bowling Swedish League is I bowl against these guys that I wouldn't otherwise, and it really reminds me of like, wow, there's some really solid talents around the world that we don't get to see on a daily basis, whether it's because of families, other life choices, work. Um, the PBA Tour is obviously a very special place, but we have to remember, and as a Team USA athlete too, when we go to World Championships, it's not the same as it used to be. Team USA used to feel like the strongest team majority of the years, and what we've learned is the world is really caught up, if not in many parts of the world, sometimes feel like surpassed.
It's a little bit like on the NBA.
Exactly.
When I was a kid, it was maybe one or two foreigners over there. One guy from Lithuania, Sabonis, and maybe Petric from
Exactly.
Yugoslavia. Now, MVP the last couple of
Yeah.
years has been a guy who is
Giannis
a
is insane.
foreigner,
Nikola Jokic. I
Nikola
mean,
Jokic, and the other guy, Doncic.
Don Luca.
Uh,
Yep.
it's crazy.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's what bowling's kind of, turning into a little bit. There's just a lot of talent, man, and it's really cool. I mean, obviously, so many young two-handers, and I think that this this week is kind of showing a little bit of the learning curve for some when they're not
Hmm.
getting to throw their urethane ball, and reactive is the main play, and the lanes are just playing different than what people are used to.
I believe that you just said is exactly what led me to have the wrong impression, or maybe it's not going to be wrong at the end. We'll see. The wrong impression that when the PBA and the good bowlers would be here, the scores would be higher. And my main thought of that was because at the beginning was some of the younger bowlers, and
Yeah.
they were all choosing to go urethane no
Oh
matter
yeah.
what. And obviously on a room that on a lane that has no room outside, and if you on the top of it, you start pushing the oil down with those urethane balls. By the end of the squad, it was terrible. Everybody was dropping down like crazy. So
Like flies. Yeah.
I said on the commentary online, I believe by next week, when it's not so much urethane on play, the things should get a little bit better. But then the more I see how it's working out and how quickly actually the ball is, it feels like on game two you are already on transition. It feels like on game two everybody's starting to go deeper than 23, 24, standing in front of
Ball
the
return,
ball
yeah.
return.
I legitimately felt in practice I was sliding around 25. I loved them. They felt fairly easy. That game one had me spooked. I was like, are we really going to be over the cap game one, game two? And you know what I learned is we are. We're going to get right over there. And but this squad's doing pretty well. We have 20 bowlers, 190 or better. That's pretty solid, I would say, for a start. That probably means that the lanes were broke down okay. You have 5 bowlers over 230. And this is where the fun begins, right? You change pairs, you're following somebody else, and
We have quite a few buddies from the United States bowling this squad. We have Sean Russ, we have Chase, we have Nate,
yeah,
we have Ernesto, a young kid, very, very talented actually. Then we have Andrew Hall. And actually, 5 of them are on the top 6. So it's quite a nice arrival for all of them.
yeah, I'd say that's a great start. I'm a little,
Conquering, yeah.
again, a little jealous, but this is something that we're used to bowling on, probably more often than Europeans are.
Hmm.
This much friction,
Especially Europeans, let me tell
yeah,
you. We have been bowling only on
it's a lot of urethane.
a lot of urethane, a
Yeah,
lot of open, big ratios events. Everybody bowls 245 average. That's why they don't spare anymore. They don't care about it.
yeah,
They're gonna make another 6-bagger right after,
right, right.
and that ends up changing your eyes actually, I believe, when you bowl and you have such a big room. As soon as you have a very small room, your brain is not used to that, and then you consume a lot more energy to stay focused and to try to hit such a narrow spot instead
Yeah,
of just having all the room in the world.
no, I agree. I agree completely, and I think that's why the cream always rises to the top. That's the saying that we use, or
Hmm.
like, as the tournament goes on, the good bowlers are going to find their way up the leaderboard. But what I think that people are doing right now is learning. We bowl a lot of squads. Everybody bowls a couple squads. Uh, and it is so great to get off to a good start. But what really happens when you get off to a good start is you're really just loosening the swing up.
Mm.
And then you get to just go bowl. And giving us a couple opportunities on something like this, like we're gonna learn from what we did wrong. I'm gonna learn from what I did wrong game one, and you're gonna learn from the transition. And I hope that many people like me are watching. There's a reason I'm still in the center today.
Absolutely,
Obviously
absolutely.
commentating is great, but I was sitting up there for a reason. I wanted to watch, see who bowled well, see what they're doing right. And I think that's a little lost sometimes
Mm.
with the youth right now is that they're done bowling, they leave.
Yeah, or they start
Um,
looking at their phones, and that's
exactly.
all they're gonna do, and
Yeah,
that's it.
when I'm bowling competitively, I'm watching every shot going down the lane. I'm trying to learn from others, and that's what really is. I feel like separated myself over the years.
I have to thank you for this kind of advice because it's very good for especially the young ones who are watching and listening.
Yeah.
We have been telling them all week. This is not only just a PBA event. This is not only happening to win a title. We want everybody to win something,
Oh yeah.
an experience, friendships, learning, understanding. And we have been trying to do. We actually, especially me, I never shut up. I keep talking and talking and talking, and I pay very little attention. Of course, I follow the scores and we comment on what's going on the lanes and what we see, but we're trying to, in a way, educate. Not educate, but provide with more tools and more knowledge to the viewers that are amateurs. Because on the top of bowling, we could say, maybe 25,000 bowlers in the planet, which are bowling real competitive, but there is
Yeah.
another 100 million bowlers who only play
Yes, a
night
ton.
leagues and stuff like that, and they go to the pro shop and they have to trust the guy in the pro shop to give them the right material. And then they have this tendency, especially on amateur bowling, like they always grab the same ball from the bag, they always bowl from the same spot on the lane.
Always.
And then when they get over there, it's almost like playing the lottery. Let's see if today I picked the lucky
Yeah.
number, or oh, today it didn't work. I'm going back home a little bit upset. And
Yeah.
those who are spending the time or to watch online and to try to, it's because they really love the game. So if they love the game enough to be watching online and paying attention, why not try to help them a little bit? So that's
Absolutely.
why I say thank you very much for all the tips you're giving
Oh,
them.
no problem.
Thank you for your time. We really really appreciate having you here, and feel free to go outside,
Yeah.
witness live because it's quite different to watch on a small screen. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
the screen here is big, but there's so many cameras. So, and we hope that we have a chance to maybe steal you another 5 or 10 minutes
Oh,
during the week
absolutely.
at some point,
You
maybe
know,
after you
you know
bought a
I'll
few
be around.
squads.
Yeah, you know I'll be around. And one thing I'm really looking forward to, Bake and the whole crew. Wednesday is always a great day.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, you know.
Wednesday is my busy day. You know
Yeah,
that. That's
yeah,
when I'm.
yeah, yeah.
That's when I'm really working my ass.
Yeah. Wednesday's a great day here. We get to golf in a scramble outing with people. I meet new people every year, and then we get to do something with the kids.
Mm.
And it's just a great day, great event. Kind of takes us away from the competition for a little bit, gets us together. Remember that we're all here for the same reasons, and then Thursday to me is when the tournament begins.
Now it's when you go back to business. So
Exactly.
Wednesdays, pick up some extra energy, pick
Yep.
up some good vibes, and
Exactly.
then everything on the grill from Thursday.
Yep. Because then it's time to try to win a PBA Tour title.
Yep.
All
So,
right. Thanks for having me,
Andrew,
man.
we wish you the
Appreciate you.
best. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, I'm gonna focus a little bit on scoring at the moment because I it was very nice talking to Andrew. We always learn a lot of new things, and especially their professional perspective. They spend so many hours in the lanes and different conditions, so it's always very 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 interesting to listen on how they see the game, how they see the pattern, how they see it could be bowled, how it could be played. Uh, so, as I was saying, I'm gonna go back into scoring. We had Sean Rush on the lead with 270 on the first game. Now he's bowling on lane 19 and 20. If you go to lane 19 and 20 camera, you also have Ernesto Reynoso. He's also from the United States, a young kid with a lot of talent. He does it very, very good. He's a two-handed bowler. Ernesto shot 233 on game one. He's now got a double and an open frame. He just doubled again, so he's above par. Then we have to find a Nate. We have to find, let me see, who else did okay? Nora. We have Nora bowling this squad also. She shot 204 on the game one. Now she has strikes per triple. It looks like she's getting used to whatever she needs to do on the lanes. And as we said on the previous squad, she's super, super talented, and we can expect her to do pretty well all day long and in pretty much any kind of condition. Another young, talented kid who's been fighting over and over again is spending a lot of hours on the lanes is Andre from the Czech Republic. He's bowling on lane 13 and 14. He's also a very interesting kid to follow. He's playing with Raymond Tees from England. He's also a super, super talented bowler. If we want to talk a little bit of a little bit older guys, more bowling in my age, we have on lane 17 and 18 Jesper Agerbo from Denmark. Uh, Quite successful. He has been always doing okay. I've never seen him go down. He's such a fighter. And if I try to see who else, Kevin Mellin, he also was bowling on the previous squad. Who else we have here? We have Nathan. We have who is there? Mm. Yeah, as Andrew was trying to explain, as soon as you change the lane and you go to the next pair, it's very important to be awake. We see some people struggling a little bit with some splits and open frames. For example, in lane one, we have both players. They have 3 open frames already. If I go to 3 and 4, there's a couple of single pin misses and another guy with a couple of open frames. So, yeah, if I go to lane 8, also another 9 miss over there. It still gets me. I don't understand. I mean, you can get bad shots and splits, and maybe it's hard to strike, but to me, single pins. On the 5th or the 6th game, when you are already exhausted in your mind, I can get it, but not that early. Anyway, back to people who's doing okay. Nora just made the 4th bagger, so it looks like on lane 15 and 16, she's feeling comfortable and feeling happy. Carl Eklund. Where is Carl? I think he was moving to 11 and 12. He's got strike, two open frame strike, spare strike. So we'll have to see how he does. But Carl is super talented, so as soon as he finds something that works, he's capable of shooting 3 games of 270 directly and nothing else happens. Well, actually, he's capable of doing it 6 games, as we said on the previous quad. He shot 1650 in 6 games when he was 14 years old, so that already tells you how good he can shoot. We have also a player from France, Gregory Rius. He won the Open in Logroño in Spain a couple or 3 years ago. He bowled unbelievable, shot a couple of 300 games. But he's a big fan of urethane, so we will see how he adapts to this type of pattern we have in here that is not that much urethane friendly as we are used to in the south of Europe. Again, as always, if you want to ask something, if you want to do any comments, feel free to do. And also remember to subscribe into our channel if you haven't done it yet. It's completely free, 100% free. And it's not only for this week, but it's going to be a lot of things happening during the year. You're going to see more big events like this one. You're going to follow the Swedish National League. And as I said, you only have to click the button, click the mouse, you just subscribe. It's 100% free. And that will also help the channel to stay free, because then YouTube is going to take care of the expenses and we can get some advertisement that's going to take care of any investment that we have to do on that.
We have a new superstar coming up.
All right, we have another PBA star coming by. It's wonderful. That's very good. I don't have to even move my ass from the chair. The stars are just coming by. And it's a pleasure to introduce another superstar from the PBA, Mr. Francois Lavoie.
Hi, how's it going?
I'm pretty good, pretty comfy, just sitting down. Andrew was sitting here. He has given us a little bit of his point of view of what was going on. So it's really good that you join us, so we can ask you, how did you see the lanes? How did you feel the pattern? Is it as demanding as it looks?
I think it is, yeah. I think it's there's some score to be had if you can hit a good pair and if you can match up the right way, but it's going to force you to throw some good shots, I think. There's the moves are a little bit different maybe from the moves
From
that
one pair to
people,
other, and what we're used to, right?
yeah, exactly. There's lately in bowling, it's been kind of similar moves all the time. You just go further left and you hit the ball harder, and that didn't seem to work as well. So I think it's going to require a little bit more thinking, maybe some different strategies. But it's possible to get some good scores. We already saw some in the first game.
High scoring.
But
But during the week, I have been seeing higher scoring on the first couple of games than as soon as transition showed up. And I was blaming it on mostly the younger bowlers. There was a lot of young bowlers on the first quads, throwing a lot of urethane, pushing the oil down. And obviously there is no friction on the corners. You don't want to miss to the outside. But the way the pattern is designed, even if it says 29 milliliters, it doesn't seem like you can have much room on the left. You don't really have that much hold. So you need to be really awake, and you need to pray that they haven't messed up so much on the pair that you are going to on the next game, right?
yeah, exactly. I think the biggest thing for me, what stood out to me, is that you have to find a way to control the middle part of the lane, the mid lane, and that's the biggest thing. If you can control the mid lane, you can have predictable ball reaction. But if your hand is not doing the right thing, or if your speed is not right, you lose the mid lane, and then you start leaving a lot of different splits and different spares, and it's a lot harder once you lose the middle part of the lane. I think the key is going to be controlling that.
And now for me, it's I understand it. I'm been bowling for many years. I'm coaching as well. But for those who are watching online and they may be a little bit more into the amateur bowling, the night league bowling, how would you tell them? How do you actually try to control the middle lane? Because people is more or less into the basics. I give more surface if I see a lot of oil, or I choose for a shiny ball if I see it's getting dry. But they don't think so much about RGs. Is it a high RG? Is it a pin up? Is it a pin down? Is it going to do a lot of flare? Is it going to want to hook too early? So what would you tell them, or what kind of tips would you give them to control the middle lane?
It very much depends on, there's different ways to do that, and it depends on the pattern also. I think in this case specifically, it's about keeping your hands soft. If you grab the ball when it gets to the middle part of the lane where it's dry is going to tend to hook, and it's going to change direction really quickly. And if you try to throw it too hard because you see it hooks, then it's going to go past the mid lane and get to the tight part of the lane, down lane. So it's really about controlling your release, just making sure that your hand is soft enough to to control that mid lane. That's really how you do it. If you get too quick with your hand, or if you try to hit the ball too much to try to create some ball motion, it's not good. You have
Then
to be
you're
soft.
gonna start going into that over under. You increase the speed, it's not gonna come back. If you grip it too much, it's gonna read way too early. That's
Exactly.
funny you say that,
Really,
because I was actually trying to explain that yesterday. Like, it looks like this pattern would be more friendly to the old school bowling, like I used to bowl. More of the follow through. Let the ball do the job. Don't force the ball to do the job. And especially as soon as it starts burning and burning and burning, and you move deeper and deeper, but you don't have any room on the inside of your line. If you start gripping it, it's not gonna work. If you start pushing too much, then it's not gonna come back. So it felt like, okay, maybe the old school guys have a little bit of a bigger chance on this event
yeah. And we
than they
saw
usually did.
Sean Ratch with 270 the first game. That's not really that surprising.
Hmm.
He's a little more old school. He doesn't have the same rev rate that he used to have, and he's good at repeating the same shots and keeping his release consistent. So, yeah, I think it's funny because a lot of times in these tournaments we wonder what's going to happen as the week goes on, and right now I don't really know what's going to happen as more players come, more international players and players with different types of usually higher rev rates. When everyone with higher rev rates comes here, is it going to make it easier or is it going to make it harder? We don't really know right now. I think the ball selection is probably going to change as
Hmm.
we go deeper into the week. Um, the one thing that I do like though about this is it's definitely different from what bowling has been, from what most tournaments have been the last couple of years. It seems to always be just go left, hit it
Go
harder,
left, go
or
left, go
or here,
left. Yeah.
especially here in Europe, it's been a lot of urethane, and
Ouch.
so
Way too
this
much.
this
Big
seems
ratios.
to
Just send the ball out
yeah,
there. That's all you have to
exactly.
care about.
But this, at least so far, and it's only Monday, I know, but so far this seems to be a different type of challenge, and so I think that's a good thing. Variety is always good, in my opinion.
And I think one of these events from time to time, especially for the European kids, it's necessary. Otherwise, they get used to so much striking that I was here at the late June. We held the under 21 World Cup, and they bowled 240 average, but they missed an amazing amount of single pins, and I was mesmerized. Like, how can you miss so many single pins? I spare with one finger. I use my index finger with any ball in the house shot, and I can spare it. It's all about free swing and letting the ball go there. And for them to hit this kind of pattern where instead of striking 7, 8, 9 times per game, they only go down. Some games they even only get 3 or 4 strikes. That means you're gonna have to spare 6 times. If
Exactly.
you're not good at sparing, it's a game over right away. So I think hopefully, it's gonna wake up some of these kids
Yeah.
because the talent they have it.
And not only that, I think when you don't strike as much as you're used to, because yeah, the kids these days are used to striking a lot because they have all this power and all this speed, and they move the pins around a lot. They get
Hmm.
messengers and they throw a lot of strikes. But when the pattern is like it is now, and it's not easy to average 230, you definitely have to make spares. That's what keeps you in it. In a 6 game block, a lot of kids have a tendency to look for the 270 game, the
Hmm.
250
Hmm.
game. Maybe it's not out there on this condition. Maybe you have to grind a little bit more every game, and so it keeps you. It makes sure to it. You have to stay mentally focused. You have to stay sharp mentally so that you can. As we're watching, we see some missed spares. On a couple of different lanes, but yeah, you just have to stay mentally strong for 6 full games because you could hit a pair that you match up well on and bowl a big
And
game,
bowl a
but
big game, but then
how are
when you
you
go to the
how are you
next
going to
one,
take advantage of it? You have to
absolutely.
be able to. If you have a bad pair, is it going to be 150 or is it going to be 190?
Mm.
You have to minimize the damage and take full advantage of the opportunities if you do hit a good pair.
Another thing that I noticed with the young guys on the previous couple of days when they were bowling, since they're not that used to these difficult patterns, not only they start missing a lot of spares, but you could see how exhausted they got to the end of the squats. It demanded their brain to be constantly thinking, what's happening, what should I do, what should I change, and they're not used to that anymore. So that is also a shame. That's why we, at least for me as a coach, I've been demanding, especially in the south of Europe, we should try to get tougher patterns. Go back, maybe not as we were when we bowled in wooden lanes and flat because it was only the century machines and stuff like that. But we cannot always bowl the 250 average over and over and over again. I had a couple of new students lately. They started taking classes with me, and I remember the first class I had with one of them. I asked him, "Okay, where are you aiming?" And he said to me, "Between that and that arrow." And I'm like, "Oh man, that's a very big area. I mean, you're not looking at
Yeah.
least the one board. No, no, between those two arrows." And that is what's happening today. I understand that bowling alleys want the customers to be very happy, and of course they want them to score. If they score 250, they're gonna come back. If they bowl 150, they go to another bowling alley.
Yeah.
But when we get into some national competitions and stuff like that, it makes no sense that they also bowl 250 because then everybody believes it's PBA potential, and then when they go to a real competition, they struggle, they get sad, and some of them even quit.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's this is definitely good. It's if nothing else, it's different from what bowling has been the last couple of years and in most tournaments. So, if I was in charge of a lot of different tournaments, I would make sure that there was variety, and this tournament so far, from what I'm seeing, is providing that.
It's a very special event. I mean, how many times have you been in the Lucky Larsen here in Helsingborg?
I played everyone except for, well, of course, the pandemic year in
Yep, yeah.
2020, but I also didn't come in 2021, I think. But I've played every other one since Malmö.
And it's, I was telling earlier, it reminds me a little bit. I don't think you have bowled that one because you come from the PBA or professional. When we had the Cubic AMF, the single World Cup, when we had that one, it was like the Spanish talking people because it was one bowler only per country. They would put us together in the hotel. Like, for example, one of my best friends in bowling is Andres Gomez and Arturo. I,
Yeah,
we call each other cuñado. It's like a brother-in-law in Spanish, and we became friends in a Cubica IMF.
yeah, yeah.
And this event is the one that has substitute that event for me because it's not only about the bowling, it's not only about the title, but it's everything around it. When you go home, even if for me, for example, I haven't bowled, I'm not gonna bowl this year. I have some medical issues. I'm not bowling, but just to be here, surrounded by the atmosphere, the amount of nice people, the staff in the bowling alley, that they are super, super, super kind. The owner, Patrick Baque, magnificent, magnificent person, very, very one of my best friends in the world. But I see it's not only happening to me. I mean, every one of the guys I talk to, it doesn't matter if it's PBA, if it's coming from Malaysia, if it's coming from Singapore, you see people coming from all over the world, and they go back home with this a winning experience, even if they haven't not even made the cut, but they go back home happy. And I believe that is one of the magics that happen in Helsingborg and the Storm Lucky Larsen event.
I agree. Yeah, you have a lot of different entries from a lot of different countries. Of course, this tournament is one of the biggest ones here because it awards a PBA title. So for us, it makes sense to come here because it's our job to bowl PBA tournaments. But it's makes our decision a lot easier to come when we know how Patrick is and how great this bowling center is and how great the city is. And the city is very supportive. Also, Patrick has a lot of different sponsors throughout the city that support us by giving us rebates when we go and
Hmm.
support their businesses. And
Some
so
discounts
everyone,
on
yeah,
restaurants and
everybody's working
nightclubs and
together to try to
mhm.
make our experience here as good as it can be, and it makes our decision to come here a lot easier.
And it's a beautiful town.
It's very
And
beautiful.
it's the
Yeah.
perfect time of the year because when you come up here in winter, you freeze your, I'm going to say my
Yeah,
head.
right
I'm
now
not
it's
going to say
about
other thing.
what 18 degrees today, maybe something like that. It's nice.
It feels good. I mean, we had, for example, this summer down in Barcelona, it was terrible. It was over 35,
Too hot.
even at nighttime, 4 o'clock in the morning, 29, 30 degrees.
Mm.
It's impossible to sleep. You start spinning around in the bed. And you don't know, you don't know if you're sleeping in the oven or what's going on. So, but let's see a little bit of the scoring. Sean had 270, and now he's bowling on, should be on 15, 16, 203. because he's on 473. Who else had some high scoring? We had Chase, who had 250 on game one. I think if we try to refresh in here, give me a second.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe it's going to be easier to know what goes on. There. Aye, not yet.
Well, and while you're trying to refresh, you were talking about the different PBA players. I feel like every time I come here, I see some new faces. Word gets around, especially I can speak for the PBA guys. When we go back to America and we play the PBA Tour, everyone is talking about how great this tournament is. And so now you see someone like Chase, who's in second place. He was an exempt player on the PBA this year. Now he decided to come here. And Andrew Hall is in sixth place. He was a player on the PBA Tour who decided to come here because word gets around. Everyone, if you do a good job and you treat people right, people are going to want to support you, and that's what's happening here. There's always some new faces every year I come here.
And I would say everything started back in 1995, 1996 when Timmy came for the first time.
Yeah.
It was Timmy, it was Bill Huffman,
Yep.
and Bill Rowe from Canada.
Yeah.
You know Billy?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And we had a lot of fun. They treated us so well. It was an amazing experience. And that summer, that was some tournament. It was held in Eastern times, and already by that summer, more of them came back for the Danish tour and the Swedish tour
Sure.
in August. Sean Rush started coming back then, and ever since it has been increasing, and I think it's also wonderful that you guys have this open heart to, in some other sports when you try to talk to the superstars, they are very difficult to talk to.
Sure.
It's not easy to access them, and for the good of our sport, I really thank the guys like Andrew, like you, that are super open, super kind, super humble, easy to talk to, open to help other bowlers understand what goes on, and it's the only way we're gonna keep on growing. If we really have that dream that has been going on forever to become Olympics, we need to keep growing the sport. We need to make people understand what goes on. We need to help them feel the will to go to the bowling alley more often. And the fact that the best bowlers in the planet can travel around and can give us some of their experience and some of their perspectives, I think it's really magnificent. So I thank you so much for your time. I thank you very much for your contribution. Obviously, I believe it's going to be the same situation for you as Andrew. You probably stood in the bowling alley because you want to witness live, see what goes on, see how the lanes are changing, try to learn as much as you can. And I know it's
Yeah.
not so easy when you're sitting in front of a screen. So whenever you want to get up and get out there, feel free to go.
Yeah, no problem.
And
Sounds good.
but as I said, it's a pleasure to be here, guys. If you have any questions, I see some people is. Can anyone hear Frankie? And now I can hear him now. Okay, so it felt like the sound was a bit gone for some second,
Okay.
perhaps. It's already solved, and it was some time ago. I'm
Everything
hoping
okay?
that there will be an option for us in the EU to watch
CW live
CWW
streams.
streams.
Yeah, we have the PBA announced that they're changing their broadcast partner, so they're switching from Fox to the CW, which I believe is more. It's a more national thing in the U.S. and so hopefully everyone around the world can watch it as well. If not, I'm sure the TV shows will make their way on YouTube. But it's always better to watch live than to be delayed a little bit. I
I
know.
was gonna say it's for example for me in Spain, I know bowling was gone through the zone, but in my area they don't let me see bowling. So I had to connect into the zone, even if I'm paying for football, basketball, whatever they show. I had to get into a different IP, so it would think I was in the United States, and
So
then
you could
it
get
would
the
show me.
channel.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
it was no chance.
Yeah. It's difficult to reach everybody. It's unfortunate too. I wish we could. I wish there was something we could do to reach everyone. I think it's one way to grow the sport is to make it available to as many people as possible.
Okay, now we have our technician is back in the house and is refreshing the scores. I tried to refresh them a couple of times, didn't work. So I'm gonna update. We have Sean Reich on the lead now with 73 over. Andrew Hall, also from the United States, 57 over, and Nora Johansson, terrifically talented girl from Sweden, on 449 already, and she started with no, inte Nora. Double 90. Here we go again to the young guys and young girls missing single pins, but she's doing okay. She managed to do quite okay on the previous score, even if she started struggling a lot. She has been so far the women who had managed better to bowl in the transition. We could expect that. Obviously, she's got the power, she's got the reps, she has no problem to move in. Some of the others may have a little bit more of issues moving in. For example, we had Emma from Sweden. She bowled 476 on the first two games yesterday on the squad. But then after that, it was 180, 180, 180, 190 something to end up with 20 something over. And obviously, probably the pattern last year was easier for women than it's going to be this year. Last year was a lot of friction on the outside. I wish I would have been last year in here because I really bowled the gutter. That's my my favorite spot. But
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to it's going to be interesting to see what solutions people find to this transition. I think a lot of it depends on the people you're following, but I also think that like we talked about earlier, if you can match up with all the different things with your ball speed and your ball roll and your release, I think there are some ways probably to manage the differences from pair to pair a little bit.
and for those who are listening and are planning to come and bowl later on in the week, don't forget the few tips that we have been given for free already. Number one, it was stay awake. Don't be afraid to move drastically. The lanes are changing a lot and very fast. So when you move to the next pair, don't be scared if you have to jump like 5 or 6 boards deeper, both you or the target and stuff like that. And now tip number two was from Francois. Don't overdo. Don't overdo on speed. Don't overdo on rep rate. Let the ball do the job, especially when you get into the burn conditions, and that would give you a lot better control in the middle lane and should help you be a little bit more successful, especially in this pattern and the way this pattern has been designed. Okay, we have Ernesto going back on lane 3 and 4. He's a very talented young kid. I haven't seen him before. It's the first time I met him yesterday. Today I've seen him bowl and I was like, ooh, this guy can really, he can really do it. So Ernesto is on 469 now with that full bagger. So I guess on the second game he didn't do as good. No, he shot 233, 176. And we see that a lot. We see the same for Nate Purchase, 234, 170, all the way around. From Canada, Mathis, 171, 256. Chase, 252, 179. So we see a lot of these ups and downs. It almost looks like the heartbeat. Yeah, I'm
Definitely.
alive. I'm alive.
Yeah. We talked about when I first sat down. I think it's very possible to have a tricky pair that you don't match up on, and then you go to the next pair and you suddenly match up, or you change your strategy and it works out a lot better. But um, who knows what the scores are going to end up looking like at the end of the week? I think the generally the people who can manage the differences from pair to pair are gonna be well, maybe a little less stressed out also, but
Hmm.
probably in better shape at the end. And it would be nicer instead of 427 with 170 and 260, maybe 215 and 213 or 212 would be
A bit more consistent,
a little more manageable. Yeah,
a little bit less exhausting for the brain as well, I guess. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, for sure.
Since you're here, I'm going to ask one of the things that I've been wondering for the last couple of months. I've been bowling for Stone for quite a few years now, but due to my medical thing, I haven't signed this year. I haven't bowled anything. But is that Ion Pro Solid going to finally be the successor of the Phase 2?
Oh, is it going to be the successor of the Phase 2? That's a good question. They're different balls, but I think I can see what you mean by that. I think the Ion Pro Solid to me probably is gets a little bit further down the lane,
Hmm.
is a little cleaner than the Phase 2, and um, I just think that the Ion Pro Solid is going to be a pretty versatile ball. I used it. I drilled it actually just before we bowled the mixed doubles in Houston, the
Hmm.
PBA PWBA mixed doubles, and I practiced with it a few times, and I took it down to Houston, and it was essentially the only ball I used for the whole weekend. I could those are the types of balls I really like, the ones I can use for multiple games. Sometimes there's a really, really strong ball, but you can only use it for one game and you have to
Mm.
switch. And
Yeah,
the more times you have to change balls in a block, the more
variables
the more
coming into
variables
play,
come into play. And so those
especially
balls,
for us using the thumb.
yeah, so
Uh,
those balls that let you stay in the same ball for longer periods of time, those are the balls that I tend to like a lot, and I try to travel with those balls. I don't have the Ion Pro Solid here in Sweden with me, but I was pretty impressed when I bowled with it at the Lucy. I was using it in game one, and when we were in front of the ball return and curving the lane a little bit more, I was also using it in game 6 and 7. So
that's why I was asking, because I've seen guys using it from the start of the warm up till the very end of the squat, and especially in today's environment, it's very hard to see a ball that can function in such different areas on the lane and conditions on the lane as from the warm up
yeah,
till the
I
very end.
I think it's a ball that responds well to changes in your release and your hand positions. It really allows you to do that, and it lets you create different shapes. So I'm very impressed with it.
Could it be a little bit of a mix of the Phase 2 and the IQ2 original?
A little bit. I think it to me it flares a little. It flares more than the IQ Tour.
Hmm.
So I think it's to me it's pretty different from the IQ Tour. I
Okay.
think it's a little bit closer than the Phase 2, but um, just a little bit, yeah, cleaner than the Phase 2, and maybe the potential to be a little bit more angular as well.
And now one of the balls that I'm really sad to see it's not remaining on the factory is the Tour Dynamics.
Oh, really?
I
You like that
really
ball a
love
lot?
that ball. You know why? Because bowling in Europe, I have to bowl against the Purple Hammer all day long. And since they always have the tendency to have these open lanes that everybody ends up bowling at least two-handers with very high speed between the second and the third arrow, and they keep the break point around 5. The Tour Dynamics allowed me to stay on the outside of them. So
Yeah,
then I
yeah.
would use the Purple Hammer as a hold, and I became a lefty in a way.
Yeah, very nice. So you didn't have to move as much, and
No, I didn't move at all.
you're
Maybe
not
one,
scratching your head
one
as
or two
often.
boards in 6 games, and I was like, Jesus, that reminds me when I started bowling when I was 10.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
anymore like the
The
way it is today.
the tour. It's interesting. The Tour Dynamics, I think, was one of those balls that um, there was it's very niche. Like some people really really liked it, and some people didn't really find a use for
A
it.
use for it, yeah.
Yeah, so it was like one way or the other. Whereas everyone has a phase two, everyone can use the phase two.
Mm.
But the tour dynamics, yeah, some styles were really really well suited for it, and maybe some styles weren't as well suited for it.
And I was thinking about this pattern, for example. Very little room. So a ball that I can trust and is not going to make too much flare and don't do too many crazy things, but still have the power. I said to myself, maybe that's the one I would use at the beginning in here.
Yeah,
Even
I
if
could.
it's a little bit deeper, but I can also spin the hand a little bit more so I can generate that extra angle that's not going to give me because it doesn't have such a high differential or high flare.
Sure, depending on the strategy, I could see that ball being an option. Yeah, if you're trying to maybe stay a little bit straighter, if you're not trying to hook the ball too much, especially on the fresh, I could see that.
And
I
I
think
think, excuse me, I think I liked it also very much because it's one of the few ones, not including the AI, the amplified inertia. And for me, I'm getting older. I'm having more pains. So my speed has gone down a little bit. And as soon as the RG goes down, it's like, oh man, every single ball seems to be reading a little bit too early no matter what.
yeah.
So it's a lot of 10 pins. Thank God I'm a good sparer, but but I get exhausted because then I have to make 2 shots every time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it. I think we talked about it with tournaments earlier, how variety is a good thing. So when Storm builds those bowling balls, I think they look at something very similar. They want a variety of bowling balls to make some complete arsenals for players trying to bowl in these tournaments.
Another ball I really loved, it was the IQ Tour 78. That ball it woke me up. Not only it woke me up, since bowling has becoming, as you were saying, more rapid, more grip it, move left, grip it, move left, and I can do that. But it was never my A game. My A game was more Walter Ray. Understand me? I love to move out to the gutter, bowl the gutter, let the ball do the job for me. And when I was a kid and I was bowling out there, when I was feeling on fire, I would turn around and say, "Who's Walter Ray?" So when that ball came out, because it hooked a million boards less than any of the reactive resin I had in my bag from the storm, even
Yeah.
the tropicals. It doesn't matter when it's so dry. They just jump to the left. As soon as I grabbed that ball out of the box, I couldn't use it. Obviously, we don't have enough oil in the south of Europe, especially in Spain. But I got it shiny. And as soon as I got it shiny, all of a sudden it was like, oh, I'm back to an Excalibur, or I'm back to a Turbo X, or one of those
Yeah,
early
yeah.
middle 90s reactive that you
Well,
could
I
bowl
was
far
I was gonna
outside.
say it probably reminded you more like the old school urethane balls. It
Absolutely,
just tends
absolutely.
to hook early and then it keeps going a lot straighter. That ball is really, really good if you need to go straight. Keep your angles in front of you. It's been really good at that.
And it hits, for me, it hits a lot more than I ever managed to do with the pitch black. The pitch black, I always had the feeling that it either overhooked or it never hooked.
Mm-hmm.
This one was a lot more easy to control, easier to understand, or more predictable, I would say.
Yeah, I
At
could
least
see
for
that.
me. At least for
Yeah,
me.
I could understand that. Yeah.
All right. Scoring. We have some strikes going on. Ernesto had to split on the sixth frame, but he's running a lot of strikes. We have four bagger, and I'm not surprised to see another nine miss from time to time over here and there. Uh, we have Karen. She's Karen bowling on lane one. She's from Denmark. She bowled under 21 here in Helsingborg at late June. She was bowling super good, old school, letting the ball go, but she was bowling far outside. That event, it was a lot of friction on the corners, both sides. So the kids really bowl. Everyone bowled the purple hammer, obviously,
Yeah, yeah.
but they bowl on the gutter and they did really, really good. I was talking a little bit with her at the end of the previous squad, and I asked her, "So how do you feel now? It's complete different. Eh? You have to jump deeper. You cannot grab that purple ball." But she's very talented. She does it very good, and her sister is bowling somewhere as well. She has a twin sister bowling in here. Uh, we have Sean with a couple of open frames, so he seems to have slowed down a little bit his scoring pace. He's already 14 over. If he strikes out, he's gonna go on 74 over, but that would mean he made 270, 201, 203, 201, 201 if he strikes out. And Chase is on 575, so that means if he strikes out, it's gonna go all the way to 224, and that would put him on
655.
yeah, 55 over. Nobody's really going super high anymore.
Well, it's what you said when I first sat down. The first game
The first
tends to
two
be high,
games.
but then you have to go to a different pair, and
Mhm,
sometimes
mhm.
it's a little trickier than the players would like
It's
it to be.
also tough because you want to take, at least when you're a little bit more experienced, you want to pick an eye like, okay, what are they doing on the next pair I'm gonna hit? But when it's 3 games or 4 games, it's too many pairs away from you, so there's no way for you to. If you go there and see, then you lose the pace on what you're doing here. You lose the concentration what you're
Yeah, and
doing on.
sometimes you you don't necessarily have a great understanding of what your own pair is doing, so you have to figure that out at the same time. And also here, the players on the left lane move to the left, and the players on the right lane move to the right. So it's really hard to keep track of everybody and what's going on everywhere. The interesting thing with having 20 lanes and the moves skipping a pair all the time is the players finish the sixth game on the pair that they started on. So um, some a little bit more strategy there. If you know you're going to bowl the sixth game on your starting pair, you probably want to try to set it up for yourself, or at least not make it worse than it needs to be.
At the beginning of the week, I would have said it would be a great idea to just make the bowl dull and make some area on the right. But now that I've seen a few squats and I see how quickly it dries up, maybe if I had to bowl, maybe I would do a lot of spare shooting on that warm up. So I would try to keep some hold for when I arrive at the end of the
Yeah,
squat
yeah,
on the last game on that pair. So as you can see, we're trying to give you tools to manipulate what you do on the lanes. There's many ways that you can manipulate. You can create area not only by drying out the outside of where you are shooting. We're not saying right and left because it's lefties and right-handed, so we better talk outside and inside. But you can also make your lane a little bit deeper but by pushing the oil down on the left of your target. And I think the way the lanes are evolving this week, that would be the strategy I would try to go on with. Find my spot. Okay, now I have my spot. Now I'm going to make the lane a little longer, maybe 5 boards deeper than when I'm standing. Because obviously, if I do it only 2 boards, it's not going to be me who's going to use that hole. It's going to be the one
yeah,
arriving right after me.
exactly.
Here the lanes are demanding, says Joe Bowler. Well, they are pretty demanding, as what we're trying to explain. The pattern already and fresh is not that easy. It doesn't give you that much room into any of the sides, but also the way it has been designed, it's for you to try to understand what goes on all the time, and you really need to pay attention not only at the heads, but what goes on in the middle of the lane and where you want to put your breakpoint, and especially where you never want to put the ball in your breakpoint. But Francois is going to explain a lot better than I can do.
Yeah, the lanes are demanding. We talked about it a little bit earlier. Um, you just the lanes will reward you if you make good shots, but you have to find the right solution or a right solution. There's, I think, a few different ways that you can attack this pattern, but you definitely need to be doing the right thing and you need to be repeating shots. It's not as forgiving as some other patterns, and of course, already we're seeing a lot less urethane than probably we're used to in the European tournaments.
Hmm.
So yeah, the players are going to have to be a little bit more consistent than they're used to, maybe with their release and their speed and all those different variables.
It's a lot of factors going on. As we said, that's the reality of modern bowling. It wasn't like that 4 years ago when we only had 2 balls in the back and the lanes were wooden and the oil was flat. Now the balls have a lot more strength in their chemistry. The oil is a lot thicker than it was back in the day, so it's more factors intervening. The players have twice the rep rates that they have 25 years ago, so that also is going to change the way uh, their balls and their shots are going to affect the conditions. And then on the top of that, the bowling alley doesn't have the same amount of people inside when it's the first squat in the morning or when it's going to be close to the final when everybody's in the bowling alley. We're gonna have a weather change by Thursday. I think I read it was it's gonna start raining from Thursday and on, and the rest of the week is gonna be wet weather. So that extra humidity and perhaps a little bit difference on temperature, that could also be a small factor. And the thing is, when you start adding another small variable and another small variable and another small variable, then it's a lot of factors. So you need to be really, really sharp. You really need to stay awake to understand what goes on, when it goes on, when should I move, when should I change into another ball. Another thing I've been trying to tell the amateur bowlers and the beginners, or not even the beginners, it's sometimes even the older bowlers. Back in the day, we used to think of the balls which one hooks more and which one hooks less. That isn't helping anymore. Now I'm trying to help people look at the balls which one hooks sooner to which one hooks later. It's so many people that they go back home like, oh, today I was so unlucky. I hit the pocket over and over and over again, but I only had 9, 9, 9, 9, 9. It's not a matter of luck. It's you had the wrong ball in your hands. You hit the pocket, but it wasn't giving you the right angle. Maybe it was a little bit too weak, or maybe it was a little bit too strong. If you try to understand the balls that hook the soonest, they need to start coming from a little bit further outside to get the same angle that the ball that hooks a lot later if it stays a little bit deeper. If you do it all the way around, if you grab a ball that hooks super early, like let's say you use a urethane now on the 25th board, it's gonna start hooking very early, so it's gonna give you a very weak angle. So probably it's not gonna carry as much as when you use it on the outside. On the other hand, if you grab a pearl ball that is gonna skid 45 feet and then it's gonna react super strong, if you put it very far outside, the angle that's gonna give you, it's gonna be so aggressive that yeah, it's gonna give you a lot of messengers. But as soon as you are a little bit out of the pocket, you're gonna get a big split, and it's not gonna carry as much as if you have the right angle. So that's another of the things that we can more or less try to help you understand. Think of the balls on terms of how soon or how late they read on the lane, and then you will understand that the angle becomes pretty much the same.
Yeah, especially when you start talking about competitive bowling, learning to look at the lane from front to back as opposed to side is so much better because you with the cameras the way they're set up, you can see it there a little bit more than normal. You can see how much longer the lane is than it is wide. It's kind of an optical illusion how much the ball is hooking
Mm.
when you look at it from higher up. And even here in the bowling center we have a second floor that overlooks the lanes. It becomes evident that the ball is really not hooking that much. It's just taking a long time to do it. So um, the most it can hook would be from the first board next to the gutter to the pocket. So about 18 boards is maybe the most your ball is going
Hmm.
to hook, and it has 60 feet to do it. So looking at it from front to back in competitive bowling is very, very important.
It's a lot more useful, and I think it's easier for people to understand once they change their perspective and they start thinking of angles instead of the amount of hook. It should be a little bit easier for them to get that carry, and especially when we are bowling like it is today. Back in my day, you bowl to 25, you made any TV show. Now you make to 25, you don't make any cut. So you really need to make
Sometimes.
250 to 60 to 50, generally speaking. But if I need to make 250 consistently, unless I have the right ball in my hands, yeah, I'm gonna hit the pocket over and over again. But if I only do 220, I have no chance.
Yeah, you have to bowling nowadays is about matching up properly. It's always been about matching up, but back in the day maybe was a little more importance on the accuracy
Mm,
and repeating the same shots, and now it's a little bit more or a lot more importance on creating as much area as you can and just
making sure you can carry.
having the right ball motion so you can carry exactly.
All right, we're almost done with game three. Pretty soon we're gonna have a refreshment so we can see how the scores are going. But we have seen a lot of sparing going on, or not that many strikes going on this third game. We can officially call transition is here. Not for good, not for fun, but that's the way it is. And as Francois said before, also when the bowlers get the ball 2 or 3 times, they're going to get a little bit more used. They're going to have a little bit of a better idea on what they want to do and what they don't want to do. So that should make the field a little bit more consistent, perhaps. Maybe we will see a little bit less droppings on the low games as we are seeing at the moment.
Yeah, we'll see. It's a little bit early to tell. It's still Monday, so we have a whole week to go. A little bit early to tell what's going to happen as the week goes on, but yeah, it could be a good thing when everyone starts playing a similar part of the lane, or it
Or it could be burning it even more.
could make things a little could make things a little tricky. We'll just have to wait and find out. So I'll leave you on this. I think I'm gonna go back out there and
Absolutely,
watch.
absolutely. We thank you so much for your patience. Thank you for all the explanations and giving us some of your knowledge and point of view and perspective. And we wish you the best of luck during the week. It's
Thank you,
been a pleasure to spend some time with you, buddy. Best of luck.
thank you. I
Thank you so
appreciate it.
much. Okay, now I'm gonna wait a minute or so we can refresh the scores, and I'm gonna update how is the status for everybody. I believe unless Sean has crashed, he's still going to be on the lead because I haven't seen anybody going very high. But we had such an interesting talk with Francois. It was good to carry on, and as I said from the beginning, we don't just want to talk about what's going on the cameras, because that you can see by yourselves. But if we can contribute in one way or another for you to understand the game better and enjoy the game better and learn something about it, and perhaps when you go down to the lanes later on the week, you try different things from what you have been hearing these days, uh, we will be happy with that. Just a quick reminder, since while we get the scores refreshed, a quick reminder, we are asking people to subscribe to our YouTube channel on the Storm Masters Lucky Larsen, because it's for free, it costs you nothing, and the fact that you subscribe is going to help us get some sponsorships from YouTube and not have to spend any money, so we can keep the channel completely free for everybody. And we're going to be pushing for more and more bowling, quality bowling, not only big events like we had the World Cup under 21 in the late June, and we are having now the PBA event, but you can also be following the PBA regional in Sweden. You will be also able to be following the National League, which is an amazing experience. The Swedish National League, it's almost like watching Barca Madrid, but without Lamine Yamal and without Messi. But besides that, it's really a crazy atmosphere. It's one of the things that you really have to witness from time to time. And I know they will be pushing also in some extra content and stuff for free. Okay, scores have updated. Things keep going down. Sean Reich is leading now with 6-6-9, so he's dropped down 1 pin from game 1. Jesper Agerbo, as I said, old school. I'm not surprised to see a couple of old school guys up there. 654. Andrew Hall, 649. Chase is 644. Ernesto, 643. And as I was saying, for example, for Chase is 250, 170 to 10. For Ernesto, 230, 170 to 30. If I keep watching now, Nora, for example, 200 to 40, 179. She's the #1 girl at the moment with 7th position on the squad and 28 over. Then we have another Swedish guy, Jonathan Hallberg, 625. Oh, finally, someone steady, 199 to 13 to 13. But then we go down to 9th place is Nate Purchase, 234, 170, 206. We see a lot of 170 games. And the talent on the lanes is mesmerizing. It's very, very good bowlers. But the fact that they are struggling the way they are struggling, it just shows you that the pattern is indeed quite demanding. I'm going to take a 5 minutes break. I'm going to try to go out and see if I can find another guest to join us for a little while. And if I don't find anybody, I'm just going to carry on by myself. Just give me 5 minutes.
we bowled on this. It was very deep.
Yeah, but we weren't this deep 2 years ago.
2 years ago, you never had to turn over the ball. No, you didn't. It wasn't as deep as 2 years ago. like how you can take the jabs. I like that. Links. You know links? Fuck, I had some money last week. Oh. Should have done like €5. Is it yours? That's why. Very expensive. No, they're not really big. Wenn es noch so viel auf das nicht so komisch. Komm ich denn raus? Was soll ich da raus? Right through there. I'm just going to get the pocket. Yeah, it's like I missed in like 3 or 4. I didn't like it all. Come on, Chase, keep pushing. 941, 938, 934, 924. Und virtuell Rennverbund. Es geht um Platz 3. Es geht darum, einer von euch kann noch schlüpfen. Wir zwei haben davon komplett. Eure Pace ist ungefähr 180. Das ist nicht durch viele Stadtbewegungen.
Schweiß über die Brille.
Ja.
Kann das denn?
Genau, Baby.
Wo bist du?
Ich hab grad 240 geworfen. 11 Sekunden.
Hast du Blitz die 2,6?
Ja. Deswegen habe ich jetzt 2, 11, 66.
Spielst steht vom Balkon. Du hast 66 und bist da wie viel? Unter uns 6. Nachdenken.
Was hast du gesagt?
Er ist nicht mehr liegen geworden.
Wir werden den letzten Start nicht spielen sollen, Bro.
Ich bin gar kein Schatten. Wo bin ich hier? Richtig nach rechts. Gute Venom schon. Hey Dennis. Ganz eben. Muss noch mal da raus. Ja. Hol den Dreck. Den Dreck kann man holen.
It's cool that we
durchrevieren. Einfach.
Just say the same thing. Was Brandon? They ended up 10 points shy of the top 4. Nice ball, Chase.
Pretty sure the number was 100.
No, there is no number right now.
One guy got to 96.
What?
One guy got to 96.
This one?
Yeah.
No, I'm at 92. That's not good.
No, that might be enough for the thing.
Maybe.
That's what look at the bigger picture. Don't look at just like what you want top 4.
Because I think the lanes are maybe there's one or two more.
Well, look at the big picture here.
So I was saying, so the early birds are like, the stores that don't actually so.
Nice ball, buddy.
I think 35.
I need a mark. I need to go to club.
One time.
So I was doing, I figured it out. 10 foot too far. Line drive. That way.
Daniel.
Still there, baby. Woo! I got a strike to beat you. Just know if I strike, you're gonna get it. 9! Oh,
I want to be
Also dann ist mir verrechnet.
I late down.
Nice ball, you guys. Enjoyed it. Nice to meet you, man. Nice to meet you guys. That was fun.
It's fun. You can meet here.
Yeah, of course. I'm here for it. That was a lot of fun.
Jag vet ju inte, de var på en.
Enjoyed it.
Jag såg det på TV. Bara fejkade ut Nej, det var vad har du gjort? My hand var film.
I think it's just
Han kände döden.
I figured something out the last one. If I hit the one ball, it's off the shot. And if I hit the two ball, it doesn't book it home.
Yeah, on the wrong part of the lane. That's sounding like a fucking idiot.
That's great. I'll make them work.
You want me to be honest? If you shoot over 150 doing that, I'll be very stressed. No joke. That was a lot of fun, actually. Either we all suck.
It's no, it's like
Or it's just hard.
it's first game. I think many people were behind for slowly me, and then game 3 you just run out of lane. It's getting worse.
My game fine. I'm watching it.
You need they want VMS guy.
Skal vi spille morgen nochmal?
I don't need anything right now. If I do, I'll let you know.
Yeah, but it's like 2 days.
Oh shit.
That was
Who was
You know
number
what?
1?
If you can give me another story.
Glaube nicht zu nein.
Mal gucken, wie es mir körperlich
Glaube ich
geht.
brauche einen Tag Pause zum Daumen.
Ja, mal gucken,
das ist Loft irgendwie für
How much do I owe for it?
No,
Paying
I
too
think
long
it's
in
going to
the
be on day one.
finger just fast. A new drill, right?
De har liksom knutit ihop
Extra.
Han sa inget annat.
Do you have any floating point in your
That's a tank.
I have a yellow one going down lane. What do you call it? Wax tail motor.
Stealth mode. STL. Still.
Ja, men nu tänker jag på det. När de ringer på
Hey. Yeah.
Och istället för att det är därför vi har lagt till 59 för vi har lagt till 49. Skriver till det sen. Ja. Han har tajmat hit själv, så det är lugnt. Ja, för text du här.
Are you golf golfing?
No. No, the golf.
Little lifestyle von der Frau.
I go to gym.
Man genau die gleichen Worte. Das kann gar nicht sein. Du wusstest immer mehr, wo du bist. Nee, 13. 13, ich weiß jetzt noch.
Yeah, but all the guys doing it looks like me. They're running around everywhere, lifting and jumping and all that. Man, I stress now. It works.
It's perfect for me because I already have too much.
I can kill myself.
It's alright for me. I need it.
Gör då. Om du do something.
Thank you once again. Nice ball once again, man. Nice ball.
Ja.
Alltså, vad nice.
Men han står där. Han kan ta det han ska ha, Kalle, så ni inte kastar resten. Är allt det ditt, Kalle, eller? Var det ditt också, den